Imagine you've just committed a crime. The evidence is overwhelming. Your lawyer leans in and says there's exactly one door left. Convince the court you're legally insane. You've seen the movies. Mumble at the wall, talk to your shoes, and instead of 20 years in prison, you get a quiet room and a juice box. Here's the problem. Thousands of people have tried that exact plan against experts whose entire job is catching them. And it almost always ends the same way. First, what the insanity defense actually is, because almost everyone gets it wrong. Insanity is not a medical word. No doctor will ever diagnose you as insane. It's a legal word, and in most places, it comes down to one brutally narrow question. At the exact moment of the crime, did you understand what you were doing, and did you know it was wrong? That's it. You can be seriously mentally ill and still fail this test, because illness alone isn't the bar. The court doesn't care if you were unwell in general. It cares about 1 minute of one day. The rule is nearly 2 centuries old. In 1843, a Scottish woodturner named Daniel Macnaghten tried to shoot the British Prime Minister, got the wrong man, and was found not guilty by reason of insanity. The public lost its mind. Queen Victoria demanded answers, and the panicked judges wrote down a test, the Macnaghten rule, that courts still use today. Your best legal lifeline was written in a hurry by frightened Victorians. Now the myth. Ask anyone. The insanity plea is a get-out-of-jail-free card, right? The numbers say otherwise. It's raised in less than 1% of felony cases. When it is raised, it fails about 3/4 of the time. And when it actually works, this is the part nobody knows. You don't walk. You're committed to a locked psychiatric facility, and you stay until doctors and a judge decide you're safe. That routinely takes longer than the prison sentence would have. John Hinckley shot the President of the United States in 1981, won his insanity case, and spent the next 35 years locked up anyway. Congratulations on winning. Enjoy your victory. It's a hospital you can't leave. But hold on, juries aren't doctors. Surely a decent actor could fool 12 random people? Maybe. Which is exactly why the system doesn't ask them first. It sends in forensic psychiatrists, and fooling them is a completely different sport. Psychiatrists even have a technical term for faking illness: malingering. There are entire textbooks, conferences, and standardized tests dedicated to catching it. You're not improvising for an audience. You're sitting an exam you didn't know had answer keys. Here's the first thing that gives fakers away, and it's beautifully ironic. Effort runs in the wrong direction. People with genuine psychosis usually don't want to seem ill. They minimize, they deny, they insist they're fine, often because the illness itself tells them nothing is wrong. Fakers do the opposite. They advertise. They open with a monologue about their voices. Real patients hide symptoms. Pretenders perform them. Walking in eager to prove you're crazy is, statistically, evidence that you're not. The second giveaway. Fakers play a movie mashup. They'll do the whispering voices, plus the split personality, plus the memory blackout, plus twitching. A greatest hits album of 5 unrelated disorders that never coexist in one patient. Real mental illness is weirdly specific and honestly boring. Auditory hallucinations, for example, are usually mundane, intermittent, and annoying. Not a demon narrating commands in surround sound. When someone describes their symptoms like a screenwriter, evaluators start taking notes for a different reason. Then come the traps. Structured interviews used in these evaluations quietly include symptoms that sound insane but don't actually occur in any known illness. Endorse enough fake symptoms and you failed a test you didn't know you were taking. There are also memory tests deliberately designed to be easy. So easy that people with real brain damage pass them comfortably. Score below pure random guessing and you've just mathematically proven you knew the answers and dodged them. Failing harder than a coin flip isn't bad luck, it's a confession. And even if you survive the interview, you don't go home. You go to a ward where staff notes describe you around the clock. Plenty of malingerers deliver an Oscar performance in the doctor's office, then relax, eat well, sleep 8 hours, and win at cards all evening. Psychosis doesn't clock out at 5. Observation logs have ended more insanity defenses than any courtroom showdown. The final wall is the one nobody sees coming. Paperwork. Serious mental illness almost never makes its debut on the night of a crime. It leaves a trail. School reports, prescriptions, hospital visits, worried relatives, years of it. Evaluators read all of it. You can rehearse an interview. You cannot rehearse 2019. Don't take my word for it. Ask Kenneth Bianchi. The Hillside Strangler, facing the death penalty in 1979, produced a second personality named Steve under hypnosis. One examiner, Dr. Martin Orn, got suspicious and casually mentioned that genuine cases usually have more than 2 personalities. Minutes later, what a coincidence, a third personality named Billy appeared, right on cue. Tests showed the hypnosis was fake too. Bianchi got life. He'd studied psychology and had even posed as a psychologist, didn't matter. So has anyone ever pulled it off? One man, famously, and look at the price tag. Vincent the Chin Gigante, boss of the Genovese crime family, spent almost 30 years shuffling around New York in a bathrobe and slippers, mumbling at parking meters. The press called him the Oddfather. He fooled waves of psychiatrists across decades. But notice what it cost. A full-time performance every single day for 30 years. No days off, ever. Eventually, informants talked, and in 2003, he admitted the whole act. The most successful insanity fake in history worked because the man essentially gave up his life to play the role. That's not a loophole. That's a second prison he built himself. And the movie's favorite trick, temporary insanity? That's not modern Hollywood. It debuted in 1859 when Congressman Daniel Sickles shot his wife's lover in broad daylight across from the White House and became the first American acquitted on temporary insanity. The victim, by the way, was Francis Scott Key's son. The public accepted the verdict fine. What actually scandalized America was that Sickles then forgave his wife. Priorities. So, can you actually fake insanity? Here's the honest scorecard. You'd need to outstudy the people who wrote the detection tests, describe symptoms more accurately than textbooks, perform around the clock for months without one slip, beat statistical traps built specifically for you, and somehow backdate a decade of medical records. All for a grand prize of indefinite confinement in a locked ward, probably longer than the sentence you were dodging. The experts get fooled occasionally. They're human. But the average person, winging it with movie knowledge? Caught, usually within days, sometimes within minutes. And here's the twist that wraps it all up. The surest sign of sanity is having a plan. The moment you sat down and strategized how to look insane, you demonstrated exactly the kind of organized, goal-directed thinking the evaluation is designed to detect. Insanity isn't a performance you put on. It's a paper trail you can't fake. Case closed.